Hello, and welcome to My Career in Data, a podcast where we discuss with industry leaders and experts how they have built their careers. I'm your host, Shannon Kemp, and today we're talking to Len Silverston from Universal Mindful.
With a robust catalog of courses offered on demand and industry-leading live online sessions throughout the year, the Dataversity Training Center is your launchpad for career success. Browse the complete catalog at training.dataversity.net and use code DVTalks for 20% off your purchase.
Hello and welcome. My name is Shannon Kemp, and I'm the Chief Digital Officer at Dataversity, and this is My Career in Data, a Dataversity Talks podcast dedicated to learning from those who have careers in data management, to understand how they got there, and to be talking with people who help make those careers a little bit easier. To keep up to date in the latest in data management education, go to dataversity.net/subscribe. Today, we are joined by Len Silverston, a consultant with Universal Mindful. And normally, this is where a podcast host would read a short bio of the guest. But in this podcast, your bio is what we're here to talk about. Len, hello and welcome.
Hello. Really nice to be here. I'm really glad to share with all of you.
I'm so glad that you're here. I've known you for a while. You've come to and speak at a lot of our conferences. And we were just talking about it a little bit in the pre-show. You're famous and well known for your Zen with Len sessions at our data governance conferences. What are those?
I love doing it. The title is usually, "What the heck does Zen have to do with data?" And what I normally say is everything, because
Yeah.
data is really just stuff that we're given. It's
Right.
all the stuff that we're given. And that's what Zen is. You look at everything that we're given and you're with it. You're with all of these gifts. So, and then the other reason I do these Zen with Len sessions, and I do it at conferences, I also do it through my company, Zen with Len, is to share ways of being mindful in a fun way. In a fun way. So,
I love it. Yeah, and they are so fun. Well,
yeah.
but let's talk about your consulting side of the world. So you're a consultant at Universal Mindful. It's your company. So tell
Yeah.
me about Universal Mindful.
Yeah, so we're an organization that's mainly myself, providing human behavior and corporate culture mindfulness specifically in the data arena. So my clients realize that their success is based upon their culture, collaboration, negotiations, how people handle themselves. And I have focused for the last 20 years on how I can help organizations and people be effective at the very foundational level. Now, I've also had decades of experience in the technical sides of data management and data governance. And as you know, I wrote several books on it. And after decades, what I realized is that the technical aspects of data, in my opinion, are much less important than the foundational aspect of how we get along together, how we collaborate, how we handle conflict, how we communicate, how we build trust, how we understand our core motivations and our core purposes, how we are aware in the data space. So I have a framework that includes all of those things with tons of tools and techniques that I teach in webinars and seminars, and in consulting, we actually practice developing these skills.
Oh, that's so great. We've heard from so many people I've interviewed so far for this podcast about how communication is so important.
Mm.
Those people skills are so important. It's not in the data world, in the data management jobs, just like you're talking about. It's not just being able to manage the data. It's because you can't do that without that communication, right?
Right, and I think a lot of people are unaware of the idea that there's all of these tools, like in all the areas that I mentioned, but like in
Mm-hmm.
communication, I use Berlow's model of communication and
Mm-hmm.
mirroring, labeling, and calibrating questions. And there's all of these tools about body language that are so important in communicating that
Sure.
very often we just don't know.
Yeah, it's so very true. Oh, that's exciting. Well, so Len, tell me, what does your typical work week look like then? How are you working with your customers, your clients to build these skills?
Yeah, so traditionally I'll set up a initial, ideally in-person session. So
Hmm.
I'll usually fly out to them, and we usually do a half-day session to start. And I share this framework of 6 areas that I've already shared with you. It's awareness, purpose, motivation, trust, conflict, and uh, and overall skills uh, in collaborating and negotiating. And what we'll do is do training, working session on these skills so people know the techniques and they know the tools. And then generally I meet with clients every couple of weeks to uh, um, practice those skills ongoing. It's usually only like 50 minutes every 2 weeks. So it's
Mm.
an incremental skill, and on each one of those sessions, we'll focus on one of those areas and reinforce the tools and see what they've done the last couple of weeks. Very often on the off weeks, I'll meet with the team that's trying to be the champion over culture, and we'll strategize about how to best develop culture in organizations. And by the way,
Oh, yeah.
after 40 years in data management, what I found is that the most successful organizations um, have one thing in common. They understand and are able to implement these cultural skills. It's the number one factor. As a matter of fact, all the keynotes I've ever seen agree on that. And yet it's really interesting. I don't see uh, uh, it's actually rare for companies to do this, to actually invest and say, "Hey, we really want to learn this culture for for the data profession." And there's inevitable things that happen in the data profession. We go try to implement enterprise-wide standards on a project, and they say, "Leave us alone. We're doing agile." There's all of these inevitable things that happen. So I focus on, hey, let's take the inevitable things that happen and share very important ways to effectively deal with this and be successful.
Oh, very cool. Well, let's back it up a little bit here, Len. So tell me, like when you were very young, so like 6 years old, was this the dream?
Okay.
Was this the dream? Did you say I'm going to grow up and be a consultant in collaboration?
Okay, so I grew up in a New York Jewish family,
Yeah.
and when I was 6 years old,
Uh-huh.
people asked me, what did I want to be when I grew up? And I remember I used to say, I want to be a millionaire. And
I
it's
love
like,
it.
I want to be successful. And and I think that lasted through my 20s. I worked very, very hard, studied hard, went to really good schools and companies, and I think in my late 20s a light bulb went on.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, life is so much more than just achievement and success. It's
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not the core of what life is about. The core of life is life. How do we live well? How do we live
Yeah.
well?
Yeah.
Uh, and that's
Redefining success. Yeah.
redefining success. And that's what I teach in both my Zen with Len business and my Universal Mindful business. How do we live well?
Oh.
Which, by the way, was Aristotle's purpose, he said. So I figure I'm in good company if I have the same mission as
Indeed.
Aristotle.
Well, so tell me about that. So you're, as you're getting older and you're teens, so like what passion and is you getting into high school and onwards, what did you start studying? What were you studying?
Yeah, so let's see. I really liked math when I was
Hmm.
younger.
Hmm.
So in um, in high school, I excelled in math. Uh, I and that idea of being successful led to after I got an accounting degree.
Oh,
Uh,
uh-huh.
um, And of course, I had to graduate with honors and be successful and all this stuff. Uh, and I thought, oh, I could be a CPA, but you know what? People in sales, they make a lot of money. Honestly, I was like, okay, let's follow
Yeah.
my dream. So I went into sales and I
Yeah.
sold insurance and I sold calculators and I sold computers
Wow.
and I actually did well in sales. And it's a really good background because when you really study sales, you realize it's not about pushing, it's about understanding, and it's about building a
Mhm.
rapport, and it's
Mhm.
about fulfilling the needs and wants of people. And then when I really got that message, then I said, you know what? I want to do that a different way. And I
Right.
actually switched careers. It was actually a major shift in my career because I was making extremely good money in my last sales job selling computers back in the 80s,
Oh
1980s.
yeah, sure.
So I was making six-figure income and I was like high on the horse. And I thought, you know what? Um, I want to do something more than sell. I want to build. I want to
Mm.
create and I want to build computer applications. Uh,
Ah,
and so I decided to go back to school
yeah,
and leave my cush job. And I
yeah.
so I just quit and I said, you know what? I'm going back to school full time for a master's in computer science.
Wow.
And and that was pretty tough to let go of that.
I'm sure.
Um, and then I got out of my master's degree and I thought, I want to get the best job. So I took a job at that time it was the big eight. Now it's the big four, one of these big
Yeah.
consulting firms. And I worked on 100-hour weeks and I made a quarter of what I used to make a few years ago. But I
Sure.
learned a lot. I learned a lot. Uh,
Yeah. So what were you doing in that first job?
yeah, I was focused on data still. I got my master's degree focused on database. Uh,
Nice.
And I was inspired by one of my teachers, who was the dean of the school at Rensselaer
Uh-huh.
Polytechnic Institute in New York. And I was inspired by my teacher, Dr. Jim Martin. I'm still uh, always inspired by him. And he was this guy with a big handlebar mustache, and he had written several books and databases. And fun guy. For fun, he'd go out and sell hot dogs at a hot dog stand when he wasn't doing his database work. And by the way, I'm a big advocate of fun. So that's important too. All my courses, I say, hey, I want to be of service. We want to accomplish so much, but let's also have fun.
Yeah.
That's Dr. Tim was like that. And as a matter of fact, after I had written some books and done articles, he called me back to the school, and I did a presentation for the school.
Oh,
And
nice.
he was so proud. He's like, "Oh, Len."
Oh, that's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah.
Oh, so well, tell
Yeah.
me, so you're coding now for a consulting company out of college after you get your master's, and
Right.
mostly
Right.
in databases.
Yeah, well, I started. They have you. Actually, you're right. They set you up coding in COBOL. Then
Yeah.
again, it was in the '80s,
Yeah.
and so I was busy coding, and then I gradually moved myself into the area that I studied, into database design,
Hmm.
and focused on database design, and then switched to a this startup company. That was the end of the '80s. A very small startup company, 6 people in a rented office, and I happened to be in Australia at that time, and I was exploring it. Actually, they were
Yeah.
a little bit known in the United States, but completely unknown in Australia.
Yeah.
Little 6 people in a rented office, a little company called Oracle.
Wow.
so, so
Talk about
I
getting
led.
in on the ground level.
Yeah, I led the Oracle Australia and Pacific region consulting and training practice for this company that just skyrocketed. So
Oh,
that was very
that's
exciting.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yes.
yeah,
So, were you, so what were you doing for them? And then what was next?
yeah. So what I did for them is I led their consulting and training. So I
Mm-hmm.
hired consultants and I
Mm-hmm.
managed them, and I sent them all over the Pacific region, the Solomon Islands, and
Yeah.
I mean all over the place,
Yeah.
all over Australia. And I would do high level consulting myself, but very little. Mostly I was managing and sending out consulting uh, uh, clients. And
Mm-hmm.
uh, so it was rewarding to see this real high success, but I really wanted to do the work myself.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I said, I want to be hands-on. I just want to be hands-on. So I left there. I actually looked around at different opportunities. I had another opportunity to be head of worldwide consulting for another company that was well known at the time, Sequent Computers, and
Mm-hmm.
they're not now, but
Yeah.
they gave me this really cushy job to be head of consulting and training over worldwide operations all over the world, and I said, you know what, um, I want to do hands-on. I took a job instead of that. People thought I was nuts, but I took a job instead of that, being a DBA at a
Ah,
local insurance company
wow.
as a contract consultant. Uh,
Wow. Yeah.
because I wanted to do the work hands-on.
Yeah.
Uh, and I said, I want to be a really solid technician in data. Uh, so I worked on mainframes and all sorts of environments, troubleshooted, and did all this work on databases.
Wow. That's very cool. So did you start expanding your data skills from there?
I did. I did. I kept on studying very hard.
Mm.
My whole career, I worked a lot of hours. So I worked very, very hard there, and I would study and work. And as a matter of fact, while I was working, I started writing, and I started writing books.
Hmm.
Uh, and
What was
um,
your first book?
so the first book is called the Data Model Resource Book, and
Mhm.
I had this idea. This was actually in the 90s. So in the early 90s, I was looking out, and I had a friend that lived near me who's also well known in the industry, Bill Inman.
Yeah.
And we were friends, and I knew he had wrote books, and I talked to him for about 5 years. And I said, Bill, you've got to write a book on template models. There's no template models available. Like, we really need these template database designs. And he said, yeah, 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 yeah. And he'd go along with it. And after about 5 years of telling him that, I get a call from his editor over at Wiley Publishing.
Yeah.
And the call was, Bill Inman says you want to write a book. And I actually never thought about that. And I got the call and I said, yeah, okay, yeah, I want to write a book. So I worked on that book very, very hard. And Bill was a co-author on that, so it gave it a little bit of crud. Um,
Nice. Yeah.
and I worked on it, and uh, we published it, and it got a lot of acknowledgement. And then I worked on the new edition of the book, twice the size and twice as many models. So they were all template models. It's first edition was published in 1997. It's still being sold. Uh, uh,
That's,
so
yeah.
and it got on the bestsellers list, and it's done quite well. And then I published two additional volumes of that for industry models and also for the underlying patterns in data. So
Hmm.
volumes one, two, and three. And so very rewarding, but an amazing, amazing amount of work. I put tens of thousands of hours into these books. Uh,
Yeah, it's no easy feat. So congrats. And I'm sure they're being consumed even more now. We're seeing a lot of new data modelers out there looking for help.
Yeah, and the CDs that give you the sequel for the book also, those are other products that are being sold still. So it's the publisher said, you know what, that's unbelievable. It's almost 30 years to have books in publication for that long.
Yeah.
And so I've been blessed. I've been blessed, and it's
That's
also a great gift. Like I hear of companies, like one company that I did consulting for. For decades, what I was doing is helping people jumpstart their database designs and doing
mhm.
data modeling, and also helping them data governance and common glossaries and all of this work. And I had all these tools and templates. Um, I remember one of my clients said their whole family knew me. They had all read the books and used the books. And by the way, they used the books to build the software product that they sold their whole company based upon the models that I published.
Oh,
I've heard all
wow.
sorts
Yeah.
of stories like that. So it's
Yeah.
really nice to have influenced people's lives
Yeah.
like that.
More and more companies are considering investing in data literacy education, but still have questions about its value, purpose, and how to get the ball rolling. Introducing the newest monthly webinar series from Dataversity, Elevating Enterprise Data Literacy, where we discuss the landscape of data literacy and answer your burning questions. Learn more about this new series and register for free at dataversity.net.
That
Really
is
amazing.
very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's got to be feel rewarding, that
Very, very
yeah.
rewarding. But about 20 years ago, I made another major switch.
Yeah.
Uh, so from the 80s and 90s and 2000s and even in the 2000 teens, I was focused on databases. But then
Hmm.
in 2004, when I was asked to do a keynote, I thought long and hard about it, and they said you could do a keynote about anything you want. And I said, okay, let me see what's most important. And I started talking about human behavior.
Hmm.
Because what I was noticing in my clients is, yeah, you could jumpstart your database design, you could jumpstart your data governance effort, that's fine. And I have methodologies for it and all these technical tools available to me. But what I noticed is that the ones that were successful um, at the core, it's because of the human behavior, it's because of the people. That was the number one factor. So I gradually shifted my career from it used to be called universal data models,
Hmm.
and I gradually over time shifted it to the point that I'm at now, where I really don't. I'll answer questions on data models or
Yeah.
things like
Sure.
that, but really my engagements are not about that anymore because the human behavior is, in my opinion, so much more important. And there's also not very many people that focus on human behavior in the data space.
Yeah, it's true. It's very
Yeah,
true. But and it is again, people I'm with you. I hear so many people mention how important it is. And you're
right.
right. The most successful are do focus on that.
Right. I look
Yeah.
at the, I've worked in a lot, many data governance and data management efforts all over the world in every
Hmm.
continent except Antarctica. I haven't done one there yet, but but uh, all these efforts, and quite frankly, a lot of them were failures. A lot of them did not succeed. They canceled the program or they didn't create the value that they wanted. And then there's a
Yeah.
handful that I'm so proud of that were so successful. And when I look back at them, uh, like one distribution company, it was all about trust. It was all about trust. And that trust transcends into their systems where the systems are connected and integrated.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Another one, it was all about purpose. A medical organization, they're all focused on purpose, about saving people's lives. And that got brought into the system. Another one was student information. It was all about collaboration and working together. And these people that were on their way out of the system created one of the most successful teams I've ever seen. But it was all through the human dynamics involved. I love just helping organizations do that. So that's what I study now, all different frameworks and techniques.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, I do want to back it up just a little bit, because you mentioned, you know, how did you go from being a DBA to getting into, you know, stretching out into data governance? So, there is a natural progression to data modeling, right?
Right.
But how did you get into the different aspects of data management there? Because so many DBAs don't, right? It's not the path for them. But
Yeah, that's actually also a very difficult transition.
yeah.
So I thought I cut my teeth on the real technical stuff. So
Hmm.
I knew how to tune, and I knew how to look at issues, and I knew the databases. I worked on IBM databases, and of course I got Oracle training, so I knew Oracle databases really well.
Right.
Um, and from there, I expanded out into architecture and modeling and looking at more of the big picture. And what I did is started out, and a lot of people ask me this. I started out not really as a consultant, it more as a contractor. Um,
Hmm.
uh, yeah, it's a consultant too because I'm doing 6 month engagements and 1 year engagements. So I did things like that for several years. Um, and but what I really wanted to do is get in and be a specialist and say, okay, I want to do 10 days at this company and 10 days at that company. And I made a big leap. So first I made the leap from technical to architecture because you could
Hmm.
see what's happening technical. And then I worked with many great data models and great data architects, and I learned those skills.
Hmm.
Um, so that was one transition. And then another transition was from contractor, a 6 month, to uh, being a consultant, where my jobs through my company, Universal Data Models, it's the same company but with a different name, were all 10-day engagements, or 5-day engagements, or 3-day engagements.
Hmm.
And I would have many clients at a time and pop around, and I did it all over the world. I did it in the Middle East and Europe and all over.
That's very cool.
And but in order to make that transition, it was actually a very difficult transition. I had to write books
Hmm.
to show. I had to have a lot of material that I could bring. So there was a lot of value there in the 3 days or 10 days, and
Hmm.
really hone in on learning one particular skill. In my case, it was data modeling. Oh, and then from there, I expanded out to data governance because a lot of my clients would ask me to do data governance work from data modeling.
Very
So
interesting. Yeah.
I developed a whole methodology on that and techniques on that, and also brought value to the table.
So there was a need, that a demand for you to learn these skills as you progressed.
There was, yeah, there was. And then I
Wow.
saw there was a need for the culture,
Yeah.
even though ironically not as much demand,
Yeah.
but more of a need. It's more of a need.
Yes.
And the other way I look at it too is we have this life, and there's limited time in this life. Do
Right.
what you love, do what is most important, and what I think is most important is a skill of learning how to live the best life, and that includes in corporations. And
Yeah.
people draw this artificial line between corporations and personal. They say, "Oh, I can't
Right.
express emotions, or I can't." No, 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 no. You have to um, uh, bring yourself in fully, um, and and learn how to live, um, taking the marrow off the bone, in
Yeah.
corporate
Sure.
culture. How do we do that? How do we make the most out of it? And by the way, if we do that, we can create amazing successes in data management, data governance, and data strategies, and data architecture.
I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot more conversation around creating that kind of culture since the pandemic, especially.
Yeah,
Um, it gave people a new perspective, really
yeah,
searching for what's important.
right,
Do- yeah.
right. And I also do that in my Zen with Len practice where I coach people personally.
Mm-hmm.
And actually every Monday I run a session at 4:30 Mountain Time every Monday where I'll give a talk on some life subject online. So these are online sessions.
So that
Yeah.
is your second business, Send with Len?
Yeah.
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 So tell me a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, that's where I do lead retreats. So I've
Mm-hmm.
uh, studied Eastern philosophies and
Hmm.
actually all different philosophies, Eastern and Western philosophies for decades as well. So while I was doing the data work, I got ordained as a Zen priest and spent actually hundreds of days in silent meditation
Wow.
retreats,
Yeah.
sometimes attending, sometimes leading. Uh, and so that's another way that I give back. Like for instance, this Monday session is there's no cost to it. People just come and listen and meditate, and
Nice.
and share. And
Nice.
and then at data conferences, as you know, I lead meditation retreats at not meditation retreats, but small Zen with Len sessions at the
Sessions.
conferences. And thank you so much, Data. By the way, thank you, Dataversity, for sponsoring a lot of the Zen with Len talks that I give
Oh
as
my gosh,
well.
yeah. People love them.
Yeah.
It's an easy decision, right? It's full all the time.
I've had people that have come to these sessions, and what I
Mhm.
share is a challenge. I show multiple meditation techniques, and there's a lot on my website on zenwithlen.com, videos showing how to meditate. And I say just 1 minute a day, 1 minute a day. And people have come to me saying it's really made a difference in their life. One guy said, I've done this for 2 years. I even encourage people to ping me on my cell phone
Yeah.
saying, hey, have you meditated? He did it for 2 years. He said, man, I feel so bad. I'm pinging you on the cell phone. I'm like, no, 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 that's great. And he said, it's changed his life. 1 minute a day, just 1 minute
Oh,
a day. Because
yeah.
people don't stop. And, uh,
Yeah.
and just to stop for a minute, uh, you rewire your brain in 45 seconds. Just to
Yeah.
stop for 1 minute makes a difference.
Yes, indeed. Very much so. Um, yeah, I certainly have experienced that myself. So it's very lovely to pause um, throughout the day. And I want to come back to that a little bit as well. So just getting back a little bit into your data career, having worked with data for so long, what is your definition of data?
Mm. I've asked many different industry experts their
Uh-huh.
definitions of data too, because I really believe in having a good business glossary and really understanding.
Yeah.
And the way I see data is actually derived from the word datum, the,
Mhm.
the Latin word datum. But by the way, some people say, oh, data is information, data is facts. There's a real big difference between data and facts.
Mm.
Um, uh, Facts are something factual. Data, from the word datum, singular, means something that is given. That's
Oh,
all it means, something that is given to
uh-huh.
us. So you're giving me all this data visually, auditorially,
Sure.
uh, whatever we touch and feel is data. Everything that is given to us in any of our senses is data. Uh, and, and data just is the plural of datum.
Oh,
So what it means is something given to us. It doesn't, it could be a figure, it could be a number, it could be text, it could be a smell, it could be a feeling,
yeah.
it
Hmm.
could be a thought, it could be anything that we sense. and things that we don't sense.
Indeed. That's a great definition, and certainly one I haven't heard. I learn something every interview.
Yeah, that's why I say Zen and data
Yeah,
are so intertwined because
sure.
in Zen is a Japanese word that means awareness. What
Right.
are we aware of? We're aware of the data. Uh, everything,
All right.
everything that we come in contact with is data.
That is so very true.
Yeah.
That's a great definition.
Ex-
Um,
e- Except we're generally not aware of 99% of the data. So we're not, there's so much happening. So if we could increase our awareness from like 1% to 1.1%,
yeah.
we're doing well.
Well, I think that's why you qualify, right? So data, so things that we perceived and unperceived that we're
Right.
receiving.
Right. Still data. It's just not unperceived data.
Right. So, do you see the number of jobs working with data increasing or decreasing over the next 10 years and why?
Yeah, I see it increasing dramatically.
Hmm.
That data is growing exponentially. Um, uh, the last time I looked on the internet, we create 2.5 quintillion bytes of information
Yeah.
every day. Uh,
Yeah.
most people don't know what a quintillion is one with 18 zeros after it. Like if you took a quintillion and you took a quintillion pennies,
Yeah.
you could cover the Earth's surface with a quintillion penny 5 times.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah.
if you took pennies and laid it out over the entire Earth. We're creating tremendous amounts of data. As a matter of fact, I think that's one of the biggest issues that I talk about, that we're overloaded with data. There's so much data coming in.
Right. Yeah. It's very true. Um, so what advice would you give to people looking to get into a career in data management?
In my human behavior classes, I often will say, be grounded in your purpose, be
Mm,
grounded in your motivations. In my coaching practice, I have a methodology called values determination. Let's say, what are the greatest values? And I love acronyms, so I created an acronym for this that's called Live Presently. And for every
mm,
letter, there is an exploration. Um, so, like for instance, for L, what do I love to learn about? I, what inspires me? V, what do I visualize? E, what
mm.
energizes? Then presently, P, what do I purchase? And so on. And I go through a process with people of saying, hey, what is their real passion? What is their gifts? What do they love? Um, and what I would say is follow your passion, follow what you love, and look at the opportunity. Um, I found an opportunity. One of the other reasons I follow data modeling is because data modeling is all about a puzzle,
Mm-hmm.
and I love figuring out puzzles. Uh,
Yeah.
and it's just how I'm wired. So follow and do exploration. So I would say in data management, there's a lot of different careers. Um, follow and do some exploration to say what might fit you uh, more appropriately. And it'll change over time. Like I shared with you, my career has changed.
Yeah.
Uh, so,
Absolutely.
uh,
Yeah.
so do this at different points in time.
Oh, such great advice. And yeah, it's so true. And like you say, it's in data, there's so many different job types working with data. You can work in any industry with when you're
Yeah.
working with data.
Absolutely. I've worked in so many different industries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Dozens of industries. Yeah.
Uh, so Len, so I would be remiss if I didn't ask. You mentioned your Zen with Len URL already. If you want to mention it again, like we'll make sure check out your Monday sessions.
Yeah. If anybody's at all interested, just go to zenwithlen.com, go to
Mhm.
the events session. There's a weekly meditation. um, that you could just get a link to and join us. We start off with a meditation, and then we do sharing, and then I give a talk on some life topic.
Nice.
It might be on trust. It might be on letting go of identity. It might be on. It might even be on career path, uh, or it could be on any topic.
Yeah.
And I teach from a Zen perspective. There's usually a story involved and some practical tip. And often there's discussion after that of okay, what did you what are your insights from this? What are your questions from this? So if you like, you could email me at len@zenwithlen.com
Nice.
and ask any questions if I can help you, uh, and or join our Monday session, or uh, look at the videos that are on the site, or uh, and I don't charge for any of that. And then I do personal coaching for people if they want, and the first session is usually complimentary. So
Nice.
um, if I can help in any way, I'm glad to do it.
Uh, and if somebody wants to solicit your services from Universal Mindful to help in understanding and building a collaborative culture, how do they reach you there?
Yeah, just go to universalmindful.com,
Mhm.
and my email there is lsilverston at univ for universal, univdata.com. So UNIV for universal, and data like information, univdata.com. And
Nice.
they can reach me that way, L Silverston, uh, uh, Silver and then STON. Yeah,
And we'll grab those links from you and make sure and get that posted on the podcast page for everybody.
yeah.
So, Len, this has been so fun. I really enjoyed this conversation.
It's been my pleasure. My
Ah,
pleasure. And thank you to everybody listening. Yeah,
so, Len, again, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. Really
yeah,
appreciate it.
my pleasure.
To all of
Thank you.
our listeners out there, if you want to keep up to date in the latest in podcasts and the latest in data management education, you may go to dataversity.net/subscribe. Until next time, stay curious, everyone. Thank you for listening to Dataversity Talks, a podcast brought to you by Dataversity. Subscribe to our newsletter for podcast updates and information about our free educational webinars at dataversity.net/subscribe.